Yes.
Hey guys, it's Lavetta.
And it's Miriam.
And we are Notorious Women, a comedy podcast about some of history's most notorious women.
Yes.
Y'all.
How you doing? Horse.
I'm okay. I'm hanging in there.
Okay. All right. You know what? That's how I am too.
It's our birthday month. We're September babies.
Girl, happy
We're Libra
birthday.
babies.
We are Libra babies. It's not till the end of September. Should we
Yeah,
tell them?
but-
Our birthdays are one day apart. Yeah.
Yes. See, it was meant to be. It was meant to be.
It was meant to
right?
be. Makes sense. I'm excited.
I think we're pretty similar, right?
I think
so.
we're very similar, Lavetta. Like,
Yeah.
it might be eerie a little bit. We're not the same. We're not the same.
No, but we are also those Libras who can make a decision, because I have met those Libras who can't make a decision and they drive me up the wall.
I make decisions whether or not they're good decisions.
Right.
I'm that kind of decision maker. Let's just do this, you know? Gotta get her done.
Oh my God. So are you're a little bit like Fawn Hall, or one of our subjects from last week.
Okay, so let's not go there. Okay. Like, I hear you, and how dare you? And if you guys didn't listen, go back and listen to see what exactly it is she just accused me of. No. Okay, no. I think about it a little.
Crack is whack. Always.
Crack is always whack, y'all.
I think we should get started. But before we do,
yes,
we want to encourage you guys to subscribe, download, share our podcast with everyone. Follow us on all the things. We will also say this at the end, but I just wanted to remind you guys to do that. I think, let me just double check, but I think I'm first this week.
All right.
So let's see. Yes. I am first this week. So for those of you who may be new to the podcast, this is how it's sort of set up. I tell Miriam, whoever goes first tells the other one about a notorious woman. The notorious woman can be heroic or horrific. She could be a biatch, or she could be an angel. Because in this world, a woman can be called terrible, whether she's doing something good or bad.
Yeah,
so
it's true.
And we take turns. And this week is I go first. And this week I have a doozy for you guys. And
I'm ready. I'm so ready. I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, because I tend to like the terrible, horrific ones. I like those.
What picture are you going to paint today, Lavetta? All right.
Listen, women got a lot of rage. Sometimes they are justified, and sometimes not so much. And today's notorious woman, the story I'm going to tell you, is a very popular one. And she's actually one of my favorite ones because she's so terrible.
Oh, Lord.
Griselda Blanco.
Okay. I vaguely have heard of her.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that is the extent of my Espanol.
It should be. What I say?
Hey, listen, my pronunciation.
That one.
Hola, como está ustedes?
Oh, wow. She is still talking. All right.
Well, this week, so Griselda Blanco, and just so you know, for this story, I got, among other sources, one of the main sources is a documentary called The Godmother of Cocaine.
Oh, shit.
Allthat'sinteresting.com as well, and many other sources. But because she is a very popular woman, there's been lots of things done on her. So let's get into Griselda Blanco. So
yes,
Griselda Blanco was born Griselda Blanco Restrepo, apparently in the Colombian and Espanol tradition. She
said it again. Go on.
Blanco was her mother's last name. So that's how, that's why a lot of times Spanish speaking places, they have like 5 names. You're like, why are all these names? Yeah. So it's a nod to their ancestry.
Listen, I have a lot of names too. I'm not knocking it.
Yeah. I think that's cool though, that you can
have
like
5
trace.
names. I do what I want. Kind of. If you go Miriam, Elizabeth, Esther, which is my Hebrew middle name, Lipner, and then Brynick. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I'm basically Spanish. Okay.
yeah. Exactly. Or Italian. Remember we had that with...
Or Italian.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So Griselda was born on February 15th, 1943 in poverty in Cartagena, Bolivar, Colombia.
Okay.
So at age 3, her mother, Ana Blanco, moved to Medellin, which exposed little Griselda and her mother to a criminal lifestyle at an early age. Basically, they were very, very poor, as many of their neighbors in this area. And when people are poor, crime is usually high.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, crime is usually high because in poor neighborhoods, people who want to do dirt know they can come to poor neighborhoods and do dirt, and there probably won't be any consequences.
Right.
So that's
because
also
they're
why.
too busy and tired and exhausted and struggling.
And no one
You can get away
cares.
with
You can't
stuff.
get the authorities to really come out and, so.
Right.
So now they're in Medellin. And at this time, Colombia, now during her lifetime, Colombia underwent a 10-year civil war
Oh, shit.
between 1948 and 1958.
Okay.
And during the Civil War, it was where the idea of the Colombian necktie was came into popular culture, basically slit necks. So
Oh, shit.
it was also a time
Oh.
where children's mutilated bodies could be found like throughout the city as fallout from this Civil War.
Oh, my God. That's really bad.
Yeah. So it's very,
Oof.
very violent, very, very unsafe. So basically people did everything and anything that they could to survive. And like most places, which I've never understood this, when there's a lot of poor people, rich people want to live near poor people. So poor people can see how rich they are, which is always a bad idea.
I've never heard of that. That's stupid. Go on.
So it's like these people. So basically where she lived in a slum or,
Right.
the ghetto or whatever, poor part of town. And nearby you could see like these high-rise condos and these like fancy homes.
So you're not really rich unless you can look down at the poors. Is that it?
Yeah. And it's not like,
Okay.
it was like right there. So you can smell it. You can see these
Yeah.
people coming out of gates, and a gate is not going to keep these people out. And also it just, people are like, why can't I have that? So
Yeah.
because of this disparity in income and wealth, it led to a lucrative industry of kidnapping, which is still pretty prevalent in much of Central America, I believe. Something that even young Griselda got into. So according to one of her former boyfriends, a guy by the name of Charles Crosby, Griselda at the age of 11, she's 11, allegedly kidnapped a child from an upscale neighborhood nearby.
What?
And when the parents, she set it up. So it's sort of like one of those things where when they're coming out, they set it up. And also I would imagine if she's 11, no one's on guard for an 11-year-old girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I am now. Thank you.
Well, yeah. But I mean, even now, I would not necessarily suspect an 11-year-old.
I don't think, yeah.
So she managed to get the kid, sent a ransom note, but the parents simply didn't believe that an 11-year-old could like kidnap and ransom a child. So they didn't pay it. So she killed the kid.
At 11?
At 11.
Oh my God. Holy shit.
Yep.
She
killed the
not
kid
right about this child.
Yeah.
No, she's not okay. Mm-mm.
You're right. Something is not right about her because she, by all accounts, she says that her mother's boyfriends, probably many boyfriends, were abusing her sexually. Her mother had a terrible drinking problem, so her mother was verbally and physically abusing her.
Oof.
And also it's a crime-ridden neighborhood. They probably didn't have enough food, so she figures this is a payday. So she kidnapped this kid, and when the parents didn't pay the ransom, she killed the kid. Yeah.
I mean, I understand that she is under a high level of abuse, and that's awful and that's terrible. But they're not all murderers. I'm just
also
throwing that out there.
Also,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where if you have a parent, even if they're in this circumstance, but they're caring and they're loving, they could be
Right.
like, it's not right. Where did I go wrong? This is not right to take a child. What is wrong with you? But it seems like she's one of those children who are basically raising themselves. They're out in the
Yeah.
streets all times of night. And the parent acts like a sibling versus a parent. Is that kind of situation setting up?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, it's
Okay.
not to excuse it, but
Like a murderer. Okay.
she
Go on.
murdered this
Yeah.
child.
Beat
And
her
then
up,
after
maybe.
that, yeah.
Go
And then
on.
after that didn't work, she did all kinds of things. She was a pickpocket, just to survive, to get money. And I would imagine there's always the looming threat of prostitution
Oh,
for a young girl.
True. Yeah.
So you're like, if I kidnap this kid, that'd give me a lot of money. So maybe I can move away. Maybe I can go. You know how a 11-year-old would think, right?
Yeah.
Now,
No, I mean, the kidnapping part, actually, she a little bit like, don't kidnap, it's bad. But like, I kind of see it. It's where she then went, okay, then I'll kill her. That makes me go like, ooh,
And it's terrifying because she shot the child. And it's one of those things where, like, this is what's terrifying, that an 11-year-old who doesn't really understand what they're doing, who also has a gun and who's also desperate, that's a very dangerous, because again, I wouldn't think that either in a normal society, because obviously I would imagine that these people don't have exposure to this kind of lifestyle. So they're thinking, surely an 11-year-old is not going to kill another kid. But
I mean, honestly, if anyone from somewhere else said, I have your child, give me money, I would just give them money. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, that's what I would do.
You know what? This is just what I'm imagining. The ransom note was probably written by an 11-year-old. So they're just like, what? So I can imagine there's a part of them that's thinking it's not real, really?
I hear you, but your child is missing.
I listen, I get it. So I guess she's just like, which it kind of tracks with her personality, which I'll get into in a little bit. That she's like, oh, I'm going to show you motherfuckers. So you found out now. So you fucked around. Now you're going to find out. So, now around 13, she also got a taste of a little bit bigger crime business. She met a man by the name of Carlos Trujillo, a smuggler of undocumented immigrants to the United States.
Okay.
They would go on to be together and get married and have 3 sons together.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's not clear if they started a relationship. It sounds like that she was just impressed that he was not pickpocketing, like petty, quote unquote, petty crimes, that he actually had like a business, an illegal business that was successful. So he showed her the ropes. Yeah. And then it turned into a relationship. And so they eventually got married and had 3 children. It didn't last because later on she would kill him in the 1970s. I'm going to get to that. So,
wow. Okay.
Big surprise there.
I mean, not really.
Also, her life is a matter of people underestimating her because she's a woman and underestimating how brutal she can be also.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm scared of her. I'm not going to underestimate her at all. Okay.
Yeah.
Go on.
Now, again, I think the relationship with her mother, I can only suspect it's like her mother may have had her when she was 13 or 14. Right. So they're more like siblings than parents. So, but eventually to escape her mother's boyfriend's sexual assaults and advances and her mother's abusive behavior, she eventually ran away home. And at the age of 19, was just full time out on her own. It could be from the help of Trujillo. Like, she's like, I'm out of here. I don't have to put up with this. I'm finally making some money. Now, others speculate that she engaged in prostitution to support herself, but she always denied that. So it's hard to tell which is true or not. Now, a lot of this, take it with a grain of salt because she is who she is. So some of this may be what's the word I'm looking for?
Hyperbole?
Embellished. But I think a lot of it is actually real, as crazy as it is.
Okay.
Because a lot of it is documented. So, okay. So she's out of the house, 19. And her and Trujillo are doing really well. She's learning the ropes. She took to it like fish to water. Yeah. So they decided to go to maybe try New York. She was like, maybe I need to get out of here, to sort of, expand my horizons. So she hooked up with another man by the name of Alberto Bravo, who his business was cocaina, where Trujillo was more like sort of like a low level kind of guy. Alberto Bravo, her second husband, was like legitimate big time player. Okay.
She's climbing the ladder. That's what she's
climbing
doing.
the ladder. So probably Trujillo, you know how these guys are. I can see him seeing her like as his little, like a little shorty that he's seen come up. Now she's a woman, da da da. She's like, I'm jumping ship. I'm going over where a real man.
Okay.
Going over to the cocaine.
Has she already birthed the 3 children?
Probably.
Oh, damn.
So
girls got busy times. Okay.
I mean, I hate to say it, but I would not be surprised if they started having sex while she was 13 or 14. Like,
that's terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're probably right.
But in her mind, that's actually a relationship, a consensual relationship, even though she can't really consent at that age to like some creepy dude that's her mother's boyfriend, right? So,
exactly.
Now Alberto, like I said, was a legitimate legitimate business of cocaine. He also had a network already set up and he had business acumen, and Griselda's already learned like illegal business, how to like think like that. Again, this is an uneducated girl who's been living on the streets basically. So they actually head to New York and they set up shop in Queens, New York in the 1970s.
Oh, that's the time to do it.
Where the cocaine business exploded in the early 1970s.
Thriving. Yes, she was. Yeah.
And also because Alberto had a direct line to distributors in Colombia, they really were able to set up shop. So much so, and even bypass the mob that's already set up in New York.
Oh, damn. Okay, go on.
Yeah. And then this is where she got the moniker the Queen of Cocaine, because she came up with an ingenious way to smuggle the cocaine in. Oh. So she developed a series of like undergarments, bras, underwear, shapewear that had like hidden pockets for young women. And they would hire attractive women who were already busty to come in and flirt with, the security guards and and like get the cocaine in that way. Right. It's very, very smart.
That's very smart.
Very smart. And then also she came up with the idea of like those crates, the crates that like you'll see like in warehouses and like you'll actually see them at like Home Depot. Like, like the pallets.
Now I hear you. Yes. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So the beams of the pallets, she would hollow them out and put cocaine in those.
Oh my God, girl. Get her done.
So ingenious. They did so well, it was estimated that they were making $10 million a week.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
I'm in the wrong business, Lavetta.
Yeah. And in the documentary I saw, one of the documentaries, they were saying, they estimated that at this time, 2/3 of the cocaine that was coming into the United States was coming from Colombia.
Wow. Like
that's how much
Colombia or just
through them. That's how much cocaine they were moving.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. All right.
And because they had a direct line to suppliers, right?
Listen, intelligence does not always come from education.
Yep. Now, because she's doing so well, and also because, again, the city was flooded with cocaine. So whenever that happens, law enforcement is like, what the fuck is going on? Right. So they started to look closer and figuring out, because if you're doing well, but not extraordinarily well, you can kind of stay under the radar. So, but they were doing extraordinarily well. This is $10 million in 1970s dollars. Okay.
I mean, Jesus.
Yeah. So this is where she was crowned Godmother of Cocaine. But because they were so successful, they started to attract attention. So in 1975, she was indicted on drug conspiracy charges, along with 30 of her subordinates, by a joint NYPD DEA sting operation called Operation Banshee. It was the largest at the time.
Okay.
And also because now, remember Trujillo, she learned how to forge documents. And then with the new husband, she learned how to move cocaine. So once she learned that they were basically going to put her in jail, her and her husband fled. She used documents, her expertise. So they fled back to Colombia.
Yeah. Yeah, I would too.
So
Were I the kind of person to do what she does? Go on.
Exactly. So they went back to Colombia. And now while she was there in Colombia, apparently Alberto started like seeing other women. He got money. She didn't really care about that. What she cared about was the missing millions of dollars that she found out was missing out of the coffers.
Oh no.
So she's,
oh no.
I don't think, motherfucker. I don't think so. She apparently her and Alberto got into a shootout.
Oh shit.
It was like what you see in the movies. It was like a shootout, like and at the end of it, she's the one that's standing.
Damn. It's the 10 dual commandments. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because it was one thing that they said he was, fooling around on her, and then he had decided to kind of ditch her. Because again, she's just a woman, whatever. But again, it's just like you can fuck whoever you want to fuck, but don't be fucking with my money. Don't be fucking with my money. According to the legend, during the shootout, she pulled a pistol out of her boots and shot him in the face.
Oh, damn. Okay. Wow.
And then he fired a shot from an Uzi into her stomach.
Did he do it? Did he get there?
Well, I mean, and then again, this is a hyperbole and like the legend. Because some say one theory is that, so Pablo Escobar, have you ever heard of Pablo Escobar?
I've heard of Pablo Escobar.
Yeah.
I just don't know why.
Now, Pablo Escobar is known as the king of cocaína.
That's why.
Yes. Now, she's about 6 years older than him. He was born in 1949. And when she was coming up in the streets of Medellin, he probably had seen her around. Again, he's 6 years younger than her, right?
Right.
So she's like, who's this little kid, right? Whatever. But when her and Alberto come back to Medellin, they realize Pablo has already set up shop and he's like the king of the area. There's other people, but he basically, everybody pays him tribute. He has cornered the market. Pablo Escobar became so rich that the United States government had to take him down. Like he had a lockdown on the local business. So she couldn't really get a foothold in the local business, her and Alberto. And that's probably why she was pissed about the millions of dollars missing.
Well, she got it back. She got it back.
Or she got it back in blood, maybe.
Like emotionally, she got it back. You know what I'm saying?
Now, one account is that Pablo had Alberto killed because they were kind of like trying to sniff around and he wanted to send a message. But later on, upon her death, in the autopsy, they actually found a bullet in her stomach.
No shit.
Yes.
Oh, so she just was like, it's fine. I'll digest on the other side of my stomach.
She, the Scarface movie with Al Pacino with Tony Montoya. Basically, it's based on Griselda Blanco. A lot of people think it's based on Pablo Escobar, but it's actually based on Escobar on Griselda, because she didn't give a fuck. And she was a lot more ruthless than Tony Montoya. She didn't give a fuck.
Damn.
So she, obviously there's some mental stuff going on with Griselda. She's a sociopath.
Yeah. That's the word.
And you saw it when she killed the kid. So, there's a part of us that wants to believe a child, oh, maybe she didn't really know what she's doing, but knowing what I know about her now, she's a sociopath. So now, upon the death of her second husband, because by this time she's already killed Trujillo.
Wow, she's busy. Yeah.
She got mad at him, so she already killed him.
He pissed her off.
He pissed her off. Now, so after the second husband's death, she became known as the Black Widow. and she
Okay,
was in
yes.
full control of the drug empire. But she continued to smuggle cocaine into the United States. Allegedly in 1976, she smuggled a bunch of cocaine on aboard a ship known as the Gloria, which the Colombian government had sent to America as part of a bicentennial race in New York Harbor.
Okay, very clever.
So, but she's control of the empire because she got rid of him. I don't blame him. I'd be pissed too. If I was this kind of person in this kind of business, he would have had to die. Millions? Nah, motherfucker, you gotta go.
Yeah. No,
You
that's
got
not cool.
to go. In 1978, she married her third husband.
Wow, risky. Okay.
A bank robber by the name of Dario Sepulveda.
Listen,
Now,
Dario has the kind of confidence we all should have.
yeah.
I mean, I could, I would never. But
I mean,
go
men
ahead,
always
Dario.
think they can handle the woman. So now that same year she had her fourth son, Michael Corleone, because of course she's taking the whole Godmother of Cocaine series to heart.
Girl.
Now, because like I said, Pablo Escobar basically had sway over all the players in Colombia. She was like, I got to figure out, I can't really get a foothold here. So what's my next move? So she sets her sights on Miami, Florida.
Welcome to Miami.
Yes, in the late 1970s. Now, she basically was an early pioneer of the Miami-based cocaine trade. She used her already extensive knowledge of the cocaine trade.
Yeah.
And she basically sought to put the drug in as many hands as possible. And so she landed in Miami. Everything was going great. By the 1980s, like I said, actually in New York, 2/3 of the cocaine that entered came from Colombia that flooded the city. In Miami, by the 1980s, 3/4 of all the cocaine that came into the United States was produced by Colombia.
Well, it's like business growth. That's capitalism for you. Okay.
Well, it is said that about $20 billion worth of cocaine moved through Miami at that time.
Damn.
$20 billion.
Damn. Holy, I can't even. What?
It's so much money you can't even comprehend.
No.
It reminds me of that scene in Bad Boys 2 where the drug dealer has so much money that the rats are eating it. So he has to figure out a way to launder it. And which, every good drug dealer needs to figure out a way to launder their money. So of course she started legitimate businesses.
Breaking Bad. Yes.
Real estate, different businesses.
Car wash. I'm just throwing it out there.
No. Her sons now are running different parts of the business.
Yeah,
she lived an extremely lavish lifestyle, homes, expensive cars, private jets.
Well,
of course, because she's making this kind of money.
What else do you do with $20 billion?
I mean, it's literally out of The Godfather. Out of Scarface. She hosted lavish parties that had all the major players there. She just lived it up, but she also upped the violence. Some sources say that she would also now Griselda was reportedly bisexual, and this is not a knock on the bisexual folks because bi erasure's real. Has nothing to do with her sexuality. She's a sociopath. But she would force men and women to have sex with her at gunpoint. This is rumored, allegedly.
Alleged rape.
She also did
now she's bad. I mean, I get it, but Jesus, come on.
She also did the fatal flaw that a lot of drug dealers do. She started smoking her own supply. They said she became addicted to something that she called bazooka, which is unrefined cocaine that you smoke. I'm like, that sounds like crack, but maybe it's a different.
Isn't that crack?
Way? I don't know. It's called bazooka. Which further contributed to her paranoia, which when you're in this trade, you're already paranoid. And also because people are trying to kill you.
They are. That's definitely true. Yeah.
Because of course there's a lot of competition. She's also very violent. There's different factions, including the Medellin cartel out of Colombia. And she also was just flying in plane loads of cocaine at one time. Soon, basically,
Insane. Yeah.
because this is like just a mixture, a fine mixture for chaos. Basically, from 1979 to 1984, South Florida was in a war zone. It almost like shadows the Civil War that she grew up in Colombia.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was all out war basically in the streets. Bystanders were not safe during this time. And they said that they can trace it back to July 11th, 1979, when several of Griselda's hitmen killed a rival drug dealer at a Crown liquor store and at the Dadeland Shopping Center. So in a mall.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. They just went in, guns a-blazing, like just peppering. Like this is basically Chicago in 1930s with Al Capone. Yeah. They wounded workers. Luckily they only wounded workers, but they just went in there and just shot a rival drug dealer. And that basically kicked off like a war between her and the other people. And people liken it to basically the Joker from Batman, the Joker's playbook. On one occasion, assassins arrived in an armored delivery van with the words "Happy Time, Complete Party Supply" emblazoned on the side.
Oh my God.
And they would come in unannounced and then just murder the competition. Authorities called it the war wagon because the sides were covered by a 1/4-inch steel with gun points. So slats would come out and then they could just pull out the guns, the nose of the guns.
God.
Yeah.
Is this like Miami Vice time? Is that what?
Yep.
Okay. Like I get it now.
Yep. Former Dade County homicide detective Raul Diaz noted that he's like, yeah, they called it the war wagon. And he's like, once it ended up in their hands, Griselda came up with another idea. Now, this woman was full of great ideas for evil, but great ideas.
Definitely. Yeah.
So she came up with the drive-by on motorbikes.
Oh, this was her?
She apparently they pioneered it in the streets of Medellin, the drive-by, and she exported it to Miami.
Thank you so much.
In the late 70s, early 80s. So by the early 80s, 70% of America's cocaine and marijuana came through Miami, and the bodies that piled up mostly because of Griselda. Not that the other people weren't killing too, but she was out. She was basically kind of like me. This is why I should never go into crime. Just kill them all. Just kill everybody you can lay your eyes. Like anybody's a competition, just take them out. And the first 5 months of 1980 alone, Miami saw 75 murders.
Jesus.
In the last 7 months, there were 169 murders.
Holy fuck.
By 1981, Miami was not only the murder capital of America, but the entire world.
Yeah, I can find other places to take a vacation. That's fine.
And they were, it was her along with the others, but she racked up most body counts, it seems.
Damn.
And they would regularly kill people with submachine guns, like these AR-15s that were trying to get off. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why they suck. Okay.
That's why they suck. And they're used not to kill deer for hunting, but to kill a bunch of people. And these guys were mostly known as the cocaine cowboys. There's a very famous and very good documentary called Cocaine Cowboys about the drug wars of this era. But again, if it wasn't for Griselda Blanco, the body count would probably be half, if not 2/3 less.
This woman needs to stop. Holy crap.
And what made her crazy is that she was so like irrational in a lot of ways. One expert put it, quote, other criminals killed with intent. They would check before they killed. Blanco would kill first and then say, well, he was innocent. That's too bad, but he's dead now, end quote.
Damn.
Just kill people. Now, her most trusted hitman was a guy by the name of Jorge Rivi Ayala. He recounted later on that she ordered a hit And she said that anybody in the vicinity would be killed, should be killed, even innocent bystanders, whether they were women or children. She didn't care.
Jesus. Oh,
They called her La Madrina.
I don't know why I keep being surprised. Like, that actually tracks. Okay.
And she would kill you. Like, if you owed her money, you didn't pay on time. She would not only kill you, she would kill your family and anybody in the vicinity.
Pretty sure I won't borrow money from her. Okay.
She would also kill you if she felt like you slighted her. Again, the paranoia, the crack, or the bazooka, or whatever. She wanted him to kill everybody, but Ayala was like, "I'll kill kids. I'm not. Listen, I might be a killer, but I'm not a monster. Okay,
right?
I don't be
she's
doing
like,
stuff
why
like
not?
that.
It's just a Tuesday, you know."
Yeah, but unfortunately, in one case, he ended up killing a kid because on one of his assassination runs, they basically drove up. It was probably in the war wagon, but they drove up beside a guy on the highway at full speed. So they're all driving.
Jesus.
They pulled down. They either pull down the slat, and they just pepper the car with bullets.
Ugh.
Later on, and so they were wanting to kill Jesus Castro, another hitman. Another one of her hitmans that she thought had slighted her. So she sent Ayala to kill him. So that's how they killed him on the freeway, like on the highway, driving.
Jesus Christ.
But later on, they realized when they stopped that he had inadvertently killed his kid. He had shot him in the head twice.
Damn.
Yeah. But
maybe
that's why you don't pepper.
A murderer. I'm just saying.
Maybe that's why you don't use a machine gun to like just shoot. Now, in late 1983, Griselda's third husband was in the firing.
Okay.
So, we said Sepulveda was a brave man.
Uh-huh.
And he's also stupid because he reportedly kidnapped Michael Corleone, their child, and returned to Colombia with him.
Okay. So, like, he's stupid. I'm just saying, first of all, you married her in the first place, but like, second of all, you cross her? Okay, good luck.
Yeah. So what she did, he should have known she was going to find him. So he goes back to Colombia with Michael. She hired hitmen to be dressed up as policemen.
I really love that he went right back to a town she knows inside and out. Okay.
I'm like, dude, go to Paris.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Sweden. I'm just saying.
Sweden.
No, the cold
Switzerland.
Countries. Yep.
Yep. He didn't think this through. When you're dealing with somebody like this, you got to really think. She probably would have shot people in Switzerland, but it'd be a little bit harder for her to find them.
It's just but where do I find you? I don't know Switzerland. You know.
Also, because she's got eyes on the ground, dude. Of course she's going to find you in Colombia.
I think Siberia is your best option here, but go on.
Yeah. So she hired hitmen to dress up like policemen, and they gunned him down in front of Michael, his son.
Oh, shit.
So they gunned down the boy's father. She got her son back, which is great. She got Michael back, who she was, by all accounts, like obsessed over. All her children, but especially Michael.
Yeah, but you just like traumatized the shit out of that kid. Okay.
Yeah. But the problem is that the assassination of Sepulveda initiated a war with his brother Paco back in Colombia. Yeah, so she's fighting against people in Miami and now in Colombia. Right?
Okay.
So she got her son back. Great. But now, because it was so bold and people are probably tired of her, also because she's a woman, I'm sure these men are really pissed off being like fooled and like made to bend a knee by a woman, so, but a lot of them took Paco's side, including an important supplier back in Colombia.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, so this is like a curveball.
Mm-hmm. So even though she basically had become the first female drug lord to make over $1 billion by this time in the 1980s, the walls would begin to close around her. And that is where I will leave us to pick up for next week. That is part 1 of Griselda Blanco, Godmother of Cocaine.
Damn. Okay, I'm excited for next week.
Yeah. Don't mess with Griselda.
That was a good one. I mean, it's like, damn, she's evil.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would be on her side if she wasn't going around killing kids. I have to say.
Or
I'm
random
like,
innocent strangers.
Well, yeah, there's that part too.
You know. Like hundreds of them. But anyways, other than that, you're totally her. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm totally her. Yeah. Damn it, I have a conscience.
Many things.
Yeah, but like shooting your husband because he stole millions of dollars, I'm on her side about that.
Yeah, I think there's like one moment where you're on her side, but I think most other moments, maybe not.
Yeah. And the bazooka. Don't smoke. Crack is whack.
Crack is whack, y'all.
Crack is whack.
PSA. Don't do it. Thank you for her.
My pleasure. Who do you have for me this week?
I have someone named Kate Warne. Her last name is spelled Warne. I don't know if it's Warne or Warne, but I just won't say it again and it won't be a problem.
Okay. Yeah, that's how that works.
Right? That's how that works. That's what I thought. Have you ever heard of her?
No.
Okay. She's fascinating. So we actually don't know anything about her from like her childhood, except she was born in Erin, Chemung County, New York. We know there was an obituary published after her death that described her parents, and that's why we know that her childhood was poor. But her parents were, quote, honest and industrious people, but that's like an obituary, so who knows?
Okay.
We know that at the age of 23, she became a widow. And then we know some more things. So that same year, it was 1856 when she was 23.
Oh, okay.
Long time ago. She walked into the Pinkerton Detective Agency in response to an advertisement in a local newspaper. And she requested a job as a detective.
Love it.
What? Yes. So at first, Pinkerton was like, I don't know. You have all those boobs on you. Could you detect things? And I mean, obviously he was wary because also there's a vagina. Don't forget.
No, he's probably. How did they talk in the 1850s? You say, see.
Right.
I have no idea.
No, that's
how
the
they talk.
1920s
Yeah,
based on media.
Is it like Tiny Tim? I don't know. Is it? Please,
I don't know why you won't hire me. No, not at all. It's America.
No.
It's a white lady in America. I don't know how they talked.
I have no idea, especially from northern New York, where some people sound southern. I don't know.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And apparently his records have him declaring, quote, it is not the custom to employ women detectives. But then she argued him and added that, quote, women have an eye for detail and are excellent observers. Now, I would just like to say that, like, why can't women be detectives if men can be? Like, we don't have to have some special power because we notice things differently. We're just like people too. But
because misogynists are always coming up with bad ideas. And the bad idea is not to hire the woman who will probably make you a lot of money. Yeah.
Yeah. So he hires her. She is his first female detective. Okay. And so now he's putting her to the test. He's like, okay, let's try this. So the first thing she did is 1858. She was involved in the case of Adams Express Company embezzlements. And she successfully brought herself into the confidence of the wife of the prime suspect. So Mr. Maroney was the suspect. Okay. So by doing that, she acquired valuable evidence and led to his conviction. They had stolen $50,000 $1858.
Oh my Lord, which is $20 billion.
Billion and a half, from the Adams Express Company. And with her help, they got $39,515 returned. And he was convicted for 10 years. So then.
Wow, that is almost $2 million.
Yeah. Did you look it up?
Yeah, by today's standard.
That's like a shit ton.
That's a lot of money.
In 1860, Alan Pinkerton decided to put her in charge of his new Female Detective Bureau, which was based in Chicago.
Oh.
And there she recruited women such as Elizabeth H. Baker and Hattie Lawton to be agents. I don't know anything about them, but I am fascinated.
We have to cover them in another one.
Yeah,
another
for
episode.
sure.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about the very big thing that she did.
Okay.
So in 1861, Alan Pinkerton's agency was hired by Samuel H. Felton, who is the president of the Philadelphia, Wilmington, and Baltimore Railroad, to investigate 1861 secessionist activity and threats of damage to the railroad in Maryland. So note, he was like not concerned about anything other than his railroad, right?
Yeah, he was concerned about his money. Slaves, they ain't got nothing to do with
What?
us.
I'm not mad at secessionists. I just don't want them fucking up my stuff. You know. Okay. So
because this is either the war's already broken out or getting ready to break out. 1861.
Yeah, it's like super on the cusp.
Yep.
So he placed agents at various points in Maryland to investigate this. So as the investigation proceeded, he became aware that the activity in Maryland didn't just end with a railroad; it also included President-elect Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, shoot!
Yes. So he received permission to continue the investigation and to focus on the possible assassination plot. So she was one of 5 agents sent to Baltimore, Maryland on February 3rd, 1861 to investigate the hotbed of secessionist activity. During this investigation, evidence unveiled a plot to assassinate Lincoln on his way to take office. So, I know. So she had 2 aliases, Mrs. Cherry and Mrs. M. Barley. And she used those aliases to track suspicious movement among Baltimore secessionists. She did undercover work in the guise of a wealthy Southern lady visiting Baltimore. She had a very thick Southern accent. And
I do declare.
Oh,
sorry.
my. I just don't like it when they don't want me to own people, right?
I need some sweet tea right now.
Yeah, it's not enough sugar for my racist attitudes. I don't know. I'd probably be bad at that. But she was good.
And I bet in the North, they didn't know what an actual Southern accent was. They were like I said, it's foghorn, leghorn. I'll say, boy.
Oh, no, she was... Oh,
she was
yeah,
Southern.
that's right.
I say, I do declare.
Oh, woe is me.
My mint juleps. I can say that because I'm Southern.
Yeah.
My mint juleps. Yeah.
Okay. I need a second. Okay, I'm back. And so she infiltrated social gatherings. They were at this included the classy Barnum Hotel. I don't know if it's connected to P.T. Barnum, but that feels right, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does.
And this allowed her to verify a plot assassination towards Lincoln and develop details of how the assassination was going to occur. So he had agents across Maryland, but it was Kate specifically, who supplied many of the key details that led Pinkerton to believe the plot was actually going to happen. So she had befriended so many secessionists in Maryland and collected so many details about the plot that they were pretty confident. So here's what happened. Okay. Lincoln was traveling from his home in Springfield, Illinois to the Capitol via a train tour. Remember, he loved train tours? That was a question on a history test.
Oh, I don't think I ever got that one. I just remember the bad trip to the theater.
Yeah. We're very democratic. We learned like a little bit more.
Okay.
And so he liked to stop at cities and be, he wanted to be the president of the people kind of thing. So he had a published program that showed his last leg of the journey was from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania to Washington, D.C. Because of the way the rail system was configured, all southbound trains required a transfer to be made in Baltimore. Now, the tracks from points north ended at Calvert Street, and the tracks heading south started at Camden Street. So you had to get up, go to the other street, and get back on a train. So the distance between those stations was about a mile. So the plot to kill Lincoln was said to be that when Lincoln was passing through part of Calvert Street Station, like a row or a fight or something, like they would create some sort of chaos, which would result in police officers rushing out, leaving Lincoln. And I bet you the police were involved in this. I bet you they were like, yeah, that sounds good. I'm making that up. I can't.
Allegedly.
It's alleged, but like, come on, y'all. We know what happened. All right. So, which would leave him entirely unprotected and at the mercy of the mob. And they would surround him, and that was the plan. So it was also alleged that a small steamship had been charted that was be sitting in a nearby river, and then the murderers would flee and get out of Virginia. So after they put all the pieces together, Pinkerton directed Kate to take the 5:10 evening train to New York City on the morning of February 18th. When she was there, she was to set up a meeting with Norman B. Judd and give him a letter from Pinkerton outlining the known details of the assassination attempt. So after they received the details of the Baltimore plot, this is like, if you look up Baltimore plot, this is this. Okay. Judd set up a meeting between himself, Pinkerton, and Lincoln on February 21st. So this is where Lincoln first heard about it. And he was doubtful that this was like really going to happen. And that just makes me sad because he had no idea.
Well, it's also like it's the problem we have today where this is where white supremacy a lot is hard to stamp out because other white people who may not think that they're white supremacists always give other white people the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
And think,
yes, they
do. They would not
mean,
assassinate a president.
Look how light their skin is.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's true. But a second independent source confirmed the plot from a man named Frederick W. Seward, and he's a man. So then Lincoln was like, okay, I'm not trying to knock Lincoln. I'm just saying.
We can knock him and still.
It's fine.
I can knock him and still be excited about the Emancipation Proclamation. Right? I'm very, very excited. But,
Yeah.
Yes.
It's kind of like Russia freeing the Jews. Thank you, Russia. Thank you. Also, stop it. Like now. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It can be.
Also, Stalin was a motherfucker. But yes.
Stalin was a motherfucker. Right. But also, thank you for your service. It's a mix. But he murdered more. We won't get into that right now.
Yeah, we want to get into that. Yeah,
that's a long day.
Yeah.
So Lincoln agreed. Let's do something about it.
Now, I have a question. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. No.
So, what date? Is this still 1861, or is this
still 1861? He is on his way to take office.
Okay.
So he is won. And he's just like slowly getting there till he can wave to the crowd to be like, I'm going to work for you people.
Okay.
And do the things I said I was going to do.
Okay. Gotcha.
So he agreed to do something. However, he refused to cancel any of his scheduled plans in Harrisburg. So he had to give 3 speeches. He was going to raise the American flag at Independence Hall, and he was going to attend a high-profile dinner. So they made train arrangements that allowed for him to fulfill his scheduled duties in Harrisburg. So at 5:45 that night, I'm sorry, let me rephrase. It wasn't until 5:45 that night that there was any deviation from his schedule. Then what happened? John George Nicholas, Lincoln's private secretary, interrupted the dinner party to excuse him. Lincoln then changed into a traveling suit and a soft felt cap. He carried a shawl upon one arm to play the role of an invalid. Pinkerton, meanwhile, had the telegraph lines interrupted to prevent any knowledge of the deviation in Lincoln's schedule. At the station, Kate entered the sleeping car through the rear along with Pinkerton, Ward Hill Lamont, and Lincoln, who was still in disguise. I don't know who Ward Hill Lamont is.
No.
But yes.
Wait a minute. Wait a moment.
Yeah. No one told us this.
Lincoln did like a...
Yes. Wouldn't you have woken up in history class to hear this story?
This is amazing.
I know.
Oh my God,
and then she sees him and she like greets him in a loud voice like he was her brother. Oh, brother, hello, how are you? You're my brother, and definitely not the president-elect. That's why I shouldn't do that job. So he rode from Harrisburg to Philadelphia by a special Pennsylvania Railroad train. From Philadelphia, he went to Baltimore by a special Philadelphia, Wilmington, and Baltimore train on the night of February 22nd to February 23rd. It was said that Kate didn't sleep a wink on the overnight trip from Pennsylvania to Washington, D.C. And the disguises she provided that night allowed Lincoln to make it through Baltimore without recognition. And then he took his seat in the White House. And they think from...
Amazing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Isn't that crazy? So Pinkerton's company came up with the slogan, "We never sleep," because how she stayed up all night to guard him.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah. Wow.
I know, right?
A thwarted assassination attempt I've never heard of this. This is amazing.
And she was key,
instrumental
in foiling this plot.
Wow.
And she uncovered the details. She also carried out most of the arrangements to smuggle him. And she couriered secret information and set up meetings and secured the necessary 4 berths on a train leaving Philadelphia under the pretext that these berths were for sick brother and family members. And it totally worked.
Wow. My mind is blown. So
isn't she incredible? She also, during the Civil War, they were used as a covert war intelligence gathering bureau. She could easily penetrate the Southern social gatherings. And she kept doing her Southern woman. I can't do it. I don't know what is this voice. I don't know.
So I say, Mint Julep, I say.
I'm just a woman. But, yeah.
I'm just a woman with big curtains for a dress on. So basically, she's like James Bond, a Southern, an American female, 1850s James Bond. She's just wow, this is amazing.
I know, right?
Wow.
And so listen, here's the set. I keep finding these women. She died January 28th, 1868. She was 35 years old.
What happened?
They think pneumonia.
Damn it.
You died of a paper cut back then.
I know. Wow.
Isn't that
so
insane?
Young.
I know. Right?
Wow. That is crazy. Has there been a movie or something about this?
Right? No. But you and I are going to make this movie.
Yes.
Oh my God. And I'm too old to play her. Damn it.
I say. Who would be a good cast member? I'm trying to think. I think a younger Reese Witherspoon would have been good because she could do the Southern accent.
Oh, Reese Witherspoon would be excellent.
She should probably still do it actually now at the age she is because she's Florence Pugh. Is that how you say
Florence
her name?
Pugh? Yes, Florence Pugh. Yes, she's hired.
She could do it.
Listen, she's cast. It's done. I just have to do a few more
Is Florence American
things.
Or is she?
No,
is she
she's British, but she can do anything she wants.
Well, she has that that salty, that salt of the earth kind of look about her,
Yes.
old American white woman look about her. I think that's why I thought she was American.
Did you see her in Little Women? She can totally be Civil War times American. Totally.
Yeah, she looks hardy. Even though I think she's a bit on the little side, but she looks hardy.
There's
she looks
nothing
hardy.
wrong with being on the little side.
I know.
Okay.
But you know what I mean? You're hardy too.
I am hardy.
But back then people seemed like they were hardy,
Yeah. Well, because that was a healthy person.
Yeah, exactly.
If you were
she looked
frail.
Yeah. Because you need to work on the farm or.
Right. Exactly. You need muscles, literally.
Yeah, you can't be too skinny. Yeah, it's so funny when you see these Hollywood actresses who are very thin back in pre-Civil War days. I'm like, no, you're a bit too skinny.
No.
Unless you're a debutante going into society or whatever.
Right.
But if you're just a working class woman, you should not be that thin. If
you had to walk the 2 miles every day to your job, then you're going to have muscles in your legs,
Yeah, this is so cool. I thought Nellie Bly was amazing, but wow, I've never heard of Kate Warne or Warne, you think?
Warne, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. If you all know, let me know.
That is amazing. Oh, she died so young, though.
I know, right?
Man.
Yeah.
Well, wow, that is an amazing story.
Thank you.
She risked her life to do something good, and Griselda risked her life to make cocaine.
This is a very interesting day, wasn't it?
It is. Well, thank you for that. And that wraps up our latest episode of Notorious Women podcast. God, I can't talk. Maybe I was smoking bazooka. No.
You weren't.
Drugs are bad. Say no to drugs.
Drugs are bad, you guys. Very bad.
They're bad people. So, but yes, guys, remember to follow us on all the things. Also, you can support the show by giving us a 5-star review in the Apple Store or wherever you get your podcast of choice. You can do it on Spotify as well or iHeartRadio podcast app. You can also support us via patreon.com. We are at patreon.com/notoriouswomen. If you want to give us some moolah, some cash, you can do that at patreon.com/notoriouswomen. And Miriam, where else can they find us?
Well, you can email us at notoriouswmpod@gmail.com. Thoughts, ideas, we like to hear from you.
Yep.
But we also have an Instagram, Notorious Women Podcast, which is fun. Come follow us, join us, talk to us. And you can DM us there also. So,
and do we have a TikTok? Is that set up yet?
We have a TikTok. We're on
Tickety
TikTok.
Talk.
It's fun. It's Notorious Women Podcast. We have a TikTok. It's new.
Yeah, you guys, Miriam is killing it over there.
I mean,
even though I thought I was like tech savvy, I'm not. I'm so confused about the remixes. I don't understand how any of that works.
I'm basically an IT master at this point. So you can call me
modest.
master. Yes. No, I don't know anything. I'm making it all up and somehow something posts and I move it along. It's fine.
No, she's being modest. But so you guys go over and say hi to Miriam and to us by proxy. But thank you again for joining us. We appreciate you guys as always. If you have any questions or if you have any feedback or any notes, or if you want to tell us that crack is not whack, reach out.
We'll try to help you back. Okay.
All right, guys. On that note, we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.